And that was part 6, the final part of the Vermont movie. Nora Jacobson, as always, our executive director of the project, is here with us. I'm also joined by Sam Mayfield and Meghan O'Rourke, who also played a role in this part 6 of the Vermont movie. Nora, I want to talk to you first about this. This isn't really so much, as we've talked about in previous segments, a history lesson as it is kind of a cautionary tale, really, about power, especially in this one with Vermont Yankee and its impact as we have going forward. What one thing do you hope people take away from this one segment in particular, whether it's the Vermont Yankee project or the wind farm project or anything like that? What do you think is the central message of part 6 that you want people to take away?
Well, first of all, that the community will come up with a solution to our problems, that it's not from above, that we have to solve our problems on a community level now. That's what I think. And it's shown at the end of part 6, which is the communities coming together to help people who are affected by Hurricane Irene. So that is an important part, I think, of part 6. And also the fact that I think we need to start generating power on community levels. I think we need to have solar arrays that are owned by communities. I think small wind farms. I think that we need to start generating our own power on a local level, and that will solve a lot of our problems.
Okay, Sam, we want to show a quick clip from one of the parts that you were involved in. This is from the Off the Grid segment. This is a clip from the Vermont movie.
Any more debate?
Ready for the question?
Are you ready for the question? I'm not going to read it all again if you don't mind.
The question has been called, which means to end discussion on this. Is there a second for that?
There's a second. Ready to vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by
All those in
saying
favor,
aye.
please say aye.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
All right, I think the first ayes have it. So.
And it is approved.
And again, Sam, this is Small Town Vermont in action from one of the segments that you played a role in. Tell me a little bit about what drew you into this project and the role of Small Town Vermont in things like this and how powerful that can be.
Sure. So the part that I worked on was people who live off the grid, folks who generate their own power, generate their own energy, and grow their own food. And so what drew me into that is my own personal interest in those things, and also the need for it in the film. So Nora asked me if I would go around to various places in Vermont where people are modeling this style of living and talk to people about how they're doing it. And one of the most interesting things that I took from this experience was to, sometimes I would just follow the power line until it stopped and then keep driving, and then literally find people who were living off the grid in that way. And so it was a wide spectrum of folks who are living really bare bones, and people who have a lot of resources to put into wide solar arrays. And so they're really, it takes everyone on both sides of the spectrum and then everyone in the middle to see what's possible for living off the grid and for generating our own power. And increasingly, we're going to need to look at these models. And so it was just really interesting to see how some people are still using hair dryers and washing and drying machines, and they're just having huge solar arrays, whereas other people just have a completely different lifestyle.
Is this something that has a large-scale future, or is it always going to be a little niche of the couple of people that do live off the grid? Is this something that can grow?
I think it's definitely going to grow. I think that we see it growing as we drive down small roads and big roads in Vermont. We can look on the sides of the roads and see huge solar arrays in places where there just used to be fields. And a lot more, small families are just putting solar arrays at their house. And it's absolutely something that can be worked towards the future. We're watching it happen now. And so, we have these families that are willing to put their resources into these huge solar arrays to just test and see what does it take. And while not all families can do that, of course, it's not realistic. It is interesting to know what it takes in order to be able to exist on solar power, on wind power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meghan, you worked on the Vermont Yankee segment of part 6. Let's take a quick look at a clip from there, and then we'll come back and talk with Meghan O'Rourke.
Well, what they need to understand is we're not going away. We'll be back until they're not.
Well said. Have a good time.
I will.
WCAX, Vermont's most trusted news source.
Vermont Yankee is shutting down.
Megan, is this something that you thought would happen realistically when you got into this project, or did you come into it after Vermont Yankee, the vote had already happened, as far as Vermont Yankee being decommissioned?
I don't know if I ever thought that Vermont Yankee would ever shut down. I was drawn to this because one of the parts about this project that's so amazing was being part of the discussion. So Nora talks about community and the community process that went into all of these filmmakers and historians and thoughtful people sitting at Wing Farm or in Nora's living room talking for the last 7 years about their pieces, was a great treat to be part of. And at one point, there was an element of it's Vermont exceptionalism, and in my kind of snarky, sarcastic way, I said, well, I think Vermont is exceptional in how much nuclear waste it produces per capita. So we need to bring in the Vermont Yankee piece to that story. And coming from a community access background, I'm already filming, or videotaping events and meetings. And I don't think I shot the footage that you saw, but I shot other footage just like that many times. So I, was happy to find a place to be part of this project in that way. And it seems, I can't hide that I'm not happy that Vermont, that we're going to transition away from nuclear power in Vermont. So.
And then, Nora, another big segment of this was Hurricane Irene, as you mentioned. And this was very powerful, and I assume you ended on this, for exactly that reason. I had seen a lot of the news footage from Hurricane Irene, but I think seeing it condensed all, how you put it together, or which director worked on it to put it together, I thought was extremely powerful. Tell me a little bit about the process that went into putting Hurricane Irene together in a 15-minute segment, if you will.
Well, it was just too tempting to end the film with that. But I didn't want to just end the film with that. That's why it sort of ends with this idea of community coming together after a disaster like Hurricane Irene. And so, in a way, this piece is a culmination of the Vermont Movie process, in the sense that a lot of that footage is YouTube footage. And we harvested YouTube footage, and then we got permissions from all the different people who had posted that YouTube footage. And then I went out, I remember when Hurricane Irene happened, and I was like, oh no, I thought the Vermont Movie was over. I thought we were done. I thought we were finished. No, we have to go out. So I remember going out with my camera and filming in West Hartford and Rochester and various places. And then, I don't know, the weaving together of it, it just sort of happened organically, with the footage and the interviews and some music, and that's how it ended.
Okay. Nora Jacobson, I want to thank you very much for being with us through all 6 nights and taking us through the Vermont Movie. It's truly a magical journey through Vermont, and we appreciate you for making it. Also, Sam Mayfield and Heather O'Rourke, thank you for being here with us as well. We're going to leave you now with a quick montage of the filmmakers who were involved in this. And again, thank you to Nora and her crew for coming by over the past 6 nights. I'm Colin Parker. We'll see you here next time on Vermont PBS.
Forward ever, backward never.